Hi, I'm Mr. Caps, and thank you for joining me on History of Mr. Caps. Today, we're going to start a new series called Historical Discussions. First ladies become some of the most recognizable women in American history. We remember them standing beside presidents during moments of triumph and tragedy. But sometimes we forget that after the White House, many of them still had decades of life still ahead of them. Many became authors. Some devoted themselves to charitable causes. Some remained public figures for the rest of their lives. Now, that leads me to an interesting question that I was most recently asked. Which first ladies found love again after the White House? Meaning after their husbands had passed away? Who remarried? And most people would immediately think of Jacqueline Kennedy. After the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in 1963, Jacqueline Kennedy became a symbol of national mourning. 5 years later, she married the Greek shipping magnate Aristotle Onassis, becoming Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. The marriage attracted enormous public attention and remains one of the most talked about chapters in First Lady history. But you see, Jackie wasn't the only one. There was also Frances Cleveland, the wife of President Grover Cleveland. Now, Frances was 21 years old when she married the President Grover Cleveland in the White House in 1886, making her the youngest First Lady in American history. After Grover Cleveland's death in 1908, she married Thomas J. Preston Jr., a professor at Princeton University in 1913. In fact, Frances spent more years married to her second husband than she did with President Cleveland. Another former First Lady who remarried was Julia Tyler, the wife of President John Tyler. After President Tyler's death during the Civil War, Julia later married a businessman named Lackland Taylor, becoming one of the few former First Ladies to marry again. So the answer is surprisingly small. See, among women who served as First Ladies while married to presidents, only a handful remarried after the deaths of their presidential husbands. The most notable ones, of course, are Julia Tyler, Frances Cleveland, and Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. It's a reminder that history doesn't stop when someone leaves the White House. Some of the most fascinating chapters of their lives are still ahead of them. So, here's a question for you. Which First Lady do you find most interesting and why? Let me know in the comments. Now keep asking good questions, and I will see you next time on History with Mr. Caps.